Hey guys, happy first day of December. Happy first snow, the winter. It's gorgeous. I hope you can all get outside. I would show you how pretty it is out here, but it's too bright. But it's awesome. I wish you guys were in here to see how nice it is in this classroom. So I wanted to just take a second and talk through a few things on the chapter 12 and 13 graphic organizer. I've had a few questions, so I just want to make sure we're all good to go. So the first thing that I'll talk through this here, you don't need to use these in a sentence. You can just look up the word on Google and copy and paste the basic definition that it gives you. If you want to put it in a sentence instead, that's totally fine. Feel free. Down here, that you're not doing anything with this. It's just there to help you. And then code switching. So code switching in basic terms is just kind of think about how if you're at school versus with a best friend having a sleepover, just you guys, the way that you speak is going to be different, right? When you're with a friend, you can be more casual. You can use more slang. You might use a curse word or something like that. Speech that just comes more freely than if you're at school speaking with a teacher or you're speaking with a parent or a coach. It's going to be different. And so in this chapter, Calpurnia is the one that's using the code switching. And so think about, how does it benefit her? So we know that Scout and Jim go to church with Calpurnia, the Black community. So if she speaks differently around them than she does with white folk. How does that help her kind of navigate make home, I guess, in a general sense? I can't say too much or else I'll just give it away. And then it says, this is just your opinion. Oops. Okay. Oops, I need to hide that. So down here, it says, how would you describe the first purchase church community's idea of obligation? Give examples from the text. So obligation, just kind of in the sense of what they expect from the people who attend church, right? The Black community. So think about how at the beginning of the service, they're kind of calling people out for possibly sinning. I forget, there's especially one guy in particular, they're he hasn't been here in 5 weeks or 5 services. Think about how they kind of shut the doors until they can collect enough money for Helen. So think about that. That's what that means, obligation, expectations. And so then it says, why do you think Harper Lee included a chapter in which Scout and Jim go to church with Calpurnia? What new insights and understanding do we have of some of the characters? What theme does it prompt us to think more deeply about? So far in the book, we already know that racism is a huge part of this book. But right now, we really only learned about the Black community through the white people in Macomb, right? We know that Atticus is taking on a case, and he's representing Tom Robinson, who is a Black man, and people are not happy about it. We've had some negative talk, right? But really, so far, we've only learned about the Black community through white people. So what does it do for us as readers by having Jim and Scout go into the Black church? What does it do for us? What does it show us? And then I don't want that there. Oh God. Okay, there we go. Sorry. So then, parallelism is the other big one I've been getting questions about. So there are 2 examples here. We have Uncle Jimmy present or Uncle Jimmy absent is an example in the first sentence. So if they were to say whether Uncle Jimmy was present or if he was absent, right, that would be showing that it wouldn't be the same. They wouldn't be equal because the word present would have so much more context than the word absent would. So by saying Uncle Jimmy present or Uncle Jimmy absent, it communicates the idea that whether he's there or not, they're the same. It doesn't matter, right? Because it didn't make much of a difference. So whether he's there, whether he's absent, same thing. And then, so the next example is more of I think the classic textbook example of parallelism. A lot of times it's about verbiage. So it says, she was never bored, and given the slightest chance, she would exercise her royal prerogative. She would arrange, advise, caution, and warn. So this is parallel because all the verbs, they're the same tense. They don't have fillers. They're just stated in the same way. So, but if it were to say she would arrange, then she would advise, she would caution and warn. That would not be parallel because they're also different. Even if it was she would arrange, then she would advise, caution, and warn. That still wouldn't be parallel because it's making arrange sound more important, because if she arrange first, then she advise, caution, and warn. It parallels about making things appear of equal significance. And so I would look in chapter 13, especially when they're describing like the people of Macomb, right? Like where they're from, what makes a person a certain way. And then also like when Scout's describing like the ladies during their meeting. And then so dicta and aphorisms. So basically it's kind of just like preconceived notions, whether it's just like a generalization, which is dictum, or whether it's something more specific that's like based on your personal experience. It's still a generalization. But so it's asking you to, so here's the example. No Crawford minds his business. Every third Meriwether is morbid. All the Bufords walk like that. So it's like when people are born into these families and make home, like they're coming in to make home with like these preconceived ideas of who they are and what they're going to be doing and that kind of thing. So what can you think of that you've heard growing up? So I would give the example, and if you can't think of anything else, you can use this. But I feel like here at CNE, last names are really big, right? Like, so if like you have an older sibling, like I've had students like their older siblings, and I've had the younger siblings, right? And sometimes like the younger siblings are like, like, is everyone going to think I'm just like ABC, right? Whether it's like a cousin or brother. And so sometimes like, it's kind of embarrassing, or like they wish they could like shed that preconceived idea of like, oh, well, since I know my brother, they think they know me, right? So that's, I think, a pretty good example. And then down here, this will come from chapter 12, and then a plot twist. You're just thinking of like, what could you do to what's something that could happen right now that would like be like throwing a wrench in the story, like a big twist. What's an idea you have? So if you have any questions, let me know. But with that being said, I hope you have a great week. Play in the snow. It's gorgeous. And yeah, I'll see you guys Wednesday.